Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakhanvitam Nama Om Krishna Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirabhishesha Pasyate Deshatare Namahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Shradha Kanta Namosite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shradhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmani Kalabhadra Subhadramyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhuveva Gītānām Pāvanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaurabhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangayati Guru Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam 43 today. Tatratam buddhi samyogam labhate paurvadehikam yatate cha tato bhuya samsiddho kuru nandana. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success. O son of Kuru, King Bharata, who took his third birth in the family of a good Brahmana, is an example of good birth for the revival of previous transcendental consciousness. King Bharata was the emperor of the world, and since his time, this planet has been known among the demigods as Bharatvarsha. Formerly, it was known as Ilavritvarsha. The emperor, at an early age, retired for spiritual perfection, but failed to achieve success. In the next life, he took his birth in the family of a good Brahman and was known as Jadabharat because he always remained secluded and did not talk to anyone. And later on, he was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Rahugra. From his life, it is understood that transcendental endeavors or the practice of yoga never goes in vain. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets repeated opportunities for complete perfection in spiritual life, in Krishna consciousness. The Lord is explaining how, despite various conditionings and the baggage of anarthas, or the sinful reactions, which a living entity harbors, or which a living entity has procured, despite all that, there is no blockage on the pathway of emancipation as soon as a living entity decides to turn to it. The Lord is explaining here. Whether we want to advance or whether we want to get entangled is in our own hands. The Lord is explaining. The spiritual life is in the hands of the living entity. There is no blockage. Why? Because the simple aspect is that Krishna consciousness paves the way for further Krishna consciousness. If one practices Krishna consciousness, the first and immediate thing what he gets is more and more opportunities to practice Krishna consciousness further. So that means there is no blockage. There is no blockage. It's completely in the hands of the living entity. If he makes the right choice, takes the right decision to serve Krishna, then all the channels open up for him. He starts getting more and more and more opportunities. So the whole arrangement is imbued with immense mercy of the Lord. So Krishna is ready to shower mercy. Krishna is ready to help us out, to uplift us. So therefore, the living entity, as soon as he desires, things start working in his life. Therefore, we can see, although the materialistic mindset, is very rigid and entangling, but we can see within a short period of practice of Krishna consciousness, one can at least perceive dramatic changes. Although we understand it's lifetimes of sinful activities and the habit of very hardcore, uh, frozen sinful activities or proclivities, but still we can see the practice of Krishna consciousness. There are dramatic changes in the way we look, in the way we see things, in the way we perceive things, in the way we prioritize what is important, not important. There has been dramatic changes in all of our attitudes and thinking. That means the process is imbued with so much mercy. Where is the blockage? There is no blockage in that sense. It all depends upon the living entity's readiness. So what is the, so that means we can say that yes, a spiritual activity performed remains eternally for the benefit of the living entity. Any spiritual activity performed always helps the living entity. We have been hearing this. But now we can hear how does it happen, how it remains for the eternal benefit of the living entity. Because any spiritual activity, what happens to that activity? You know, how, where it is recorded, what changes it brings about, where it is stored. So two aspects we can see. Any spiritual activity, first of all, changes what, or decides what kind of inputs we are going to get from the surroundings. So perform spiritual activities, then you're going to get spiritual inspirations all around. Opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. So spiritual activity changes our further future settings of what we are going to receive. Second, a spiritual activity changes the perspectives in which we interface the reality of the world. So that means it changes the subtle body, which is the interpreter. This is how the path is going to be made easier for us. The path is made easier, the path is made more palatable for us. It becomes possible, it becomes reconcilable. That's why we can say Krishna consciousness is the path of grace. Krishna consciousness is the path of auspiciousness. So just like sometimes we see a particular software package, its installation time is very minimal, but how much utility it can give goes on for a long time. Similarly, Krishna consciousness is like that only. Each and every fabric of Krishna consciousness installation is not that long, that difficult. But if it is installed, its impact on our lives is going to be very long and far reaching. That's the whole point. It's all about installation. So installation is never so prominent, but the utility goes for a long time. That is the understanding. पूर्वभ्यासेन तेनैव क्रियते हि अवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते. By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. Advanced yogis are not very much attracted to the rituals of the scriptures, but they automatically become attracted to the yoga principles which can elevate them to complete Krishna consciousness, the highest yoga perfection. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3:37-7, such disregard of Vedic rituals by the advanced transcendentalists is explained as follows. Ahobat swapachoto dariyan yajjivagre vartate namatuthyam te pustapaste juhuvu shashnurarya brahmanuchoranam grinantiyete. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far, far advanced in spiritual life. Even if born in families of dog eaters, such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all the sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. The famous example of this was presented by Lord Chaitanya, who accepted Thakur Haridas as one of his most intimate, important disciples. Although Thakur Haridas happened to take his birth in a Muslim family, he was elevated to the post of Namacharya by Lord Chaitanya due to his rigidly attended principle of chanting 300,000 names of the Lord daily. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And because he chanted the holy names of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas known as the Shabda Brahma. Unless therefore one is purified, one cannot take to the religious principles of Krishna consciousness or become engaged in chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada is explaining that by uh, practice of Bhakti Yoga, Purva Bhyasena, in previous lives, one develops attraction. Now we can understand that practice can only lead to fructification if there is inherent potentiality embedded within. Just like if you keep pouring water on a land, if it has some seed within, after some days, some plant will germinate out. But if it has no seed within, then no matter how long you put water, nothing will come out. Still not. Nothing will come out. So because the seed is there, everything else develops. Because that potentiality is there, the practice can unleash the potentiality. So in that sense, we can understand that the practice of Bhakti Yoga is like cleansing. And the state of, naturally the state of a devotee is that of attraction to Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness, now, so here Lord Krishna is explaining, such a person, even without his seeking, he will get attracted to the principles of devotional service. So amazing. That means the person has that ferric element. The moment the rust is reduced, immediately that ferric element develops magnetic attractions towards Krishna. That's how we can see that. There is ferric element already in the living entity. And because of exposure to material energy, that ferric element gets covered over. And therefore one may not see a kick. One may not feel an attraction. But then as soon as that layer is removed, then one can experience so one can experience the ferromagnetic attraction in that sense. When milk is churned, butter comes out. Because that condensed butter is already there, the milk it just comes out. So similarly, we have to understand this aspect. We have to understand this aspect that Krishna consciousness is the, so we have to understand that Krishna consciousness is the most possible thing to happen for a living entity, because that is our intrinsic nature. It's all a matter of cleaning. It's all a matter of practice. In material world, practice or hard work doesn't necessarily yield results. There's no guarantee. One may invest everything but still fail. It's possible. Material energy, that is what happens. Nothing is, everything is so probabilistic in the material world. But in Krishna consciousness, it is, the Krishna consciousness is such a powerful process. It's all about blossoming of one's innate nature. And according to that innate nature, naturally one is attracted towards Krishna. That's what happens to an advanced yogi. He's naturally attracted to the Supreme Lord. Why? Because Purvabhyasena. So therefore, in spiritual life, it is very important to take shelter of activities which we can do, because they will create the pave the way or cleanse the way for activities which are appearing to be difficult to do. So therefore, we don't have to aim lofty in Krishna consciousness, because if too lofty, we will not be able to do it. So at any given point, at any given point of time, in any given set of conditioning, you have to understand that, okay, what is it that I can do? Let me just focus on what is it that I can do. And just keep doing that. So therefore, you see, in that way, Mahaprabhu has made the process quite easy, that you can start with easy things. And just by the easy things, everything else will follow. So the heart is cleansed. That's the point. So one may say, oh, very difficult. The process of yoga, 24 hours, remembering Krishna, saying no to Maya, boxing on the, on Maya, very difficult. So the Lord is resolving the whole thing. The Lord is telling that you just focus on easy things. They have the potency to pave the way for everything. We just focus on easy things. We just focus on things which are possible. Chanting the holy names doesn't take much effort, time, energy. So one chants, it paves the way for everything. One reads, it paves the way for everything. That's why you see the Bhakti Shastras are talking about Shravanam. Oh, Shravanam very easy, is it not? Shravanam is so easy. Nowadays even more easy because of the technology. Shravanam. So it paves the way. So somebody may say, I'm very much, caught up, entangled. I cannot think of, that level of dedication, that level of, that level of dedication, making offering to Krishna, everything and all that. So what one should do actually? The point is that one's zoom should not be on that which one cannot follow, but one's zoom should be on that which one can follow. Okay, you can chant few rounds. You can attend the morning program. You can associate, read, hear. Simple activities of Krishna consciousness are very powerful. Is it not? That's the point. Like for cleaning, you don't need diamond to clean. You can get a 30 rupees, 20 rupees jhadu. Is it not? Good enough for cleaning. Is it not? You can get a torn piece of cloth. Good enough for cleaning. Is it not? It's simple actually. So Krishna consciousness is that's why Krishna consciousness is simple. Why? Because it awakens one's true nature. Therefore, it's simple. If the process puts you in some artificial position for some time or all the time or whatever, then that process has to be complicated. Because it's putting oneself in a position which one doesn't belong to, that the process is complicated. You can see Ashtanga, complicated process. Why? Because that's not the nature of the living entity. Being a spectator is not the nature of the living entity. That's material world. You just being a spectator and enjoy others' misery. Is it not? That's material consciousness, but that is not the nature of the living entity. So we have to understand that complications only arise because of contaminations. Otherwise, the process of Krishna consciousness is simple. And whenever we want to apply the principles of Krishna consciousness, they get applied in a very simple setting. It's not complex actually. The complex is created by the mind to create some or the other obstacles. That's all. That is complex. But the practice is not complex at all. The practice is quite simple. Yeah, many of them might have gone through. So Prabhupada preached to hippies, many of them might have gone through. And we can see that from their lives. Many of them who took to Krishna consciousness were not necessarily, you know, uh, many of them were seeking Krishna consciousness themselves, seeking spiritual life themselves. Many of them were like that. Two things are there. The the practice of Krishna consciousness depends on previous credits. Second, even if you get it, to hold it also requires credits. Patrata is required actually. Otherwise, one may not be able to hold it also. Obviously, by misuse of free will, even if one has patrata, one can still destroy that patrata. That is there. You may have a vessel, you may throw it in the gutter, it's possible. But then that vessel builds by punya karma only. That vessel is built by abhyas only. So that's the point. That is the point. It becomes easier like that. Obviously, there is a possibility of kripa siddhi, which is there. But in general, Acharyas explain that in general, kripa siddhi is not the principle. It's sadhana siddhi. The sadhana attracts kripa, that way kripa. Not that somebody is pure demon and then all of a sudden he gets mercy, he goes back to God. That type of thing is there, but the acharyas are telling for all practical purposes, don't rely on that. That means that's not a generic norm. Maybe possible, but not the generic norm. No, so the point is that Bhakti Yoga is all encompassing because Bhakti Yoga is a superset. So whether one says explicitly I'm Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or like that, in that way one steps up the ladder, or one says I'm a devotee of the Lord. Even if you say I am a devotee of the Lord, these principles of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga are all the more are all very much needed for bhakti. There is no bhakti without any of these things in place also. So it's one path. Whether we take it in explicit categorization or we just take it in combination. It's just like you can separately give entrance exam for BTech and then give GATE exam and then take MTech, and then give a PhD exam and enroll in a PhD, or you can directly enroll in a combo pack. So combo pack saves time, right? That's what we see. Now, 6 years program, BTech, MTech, and you have to give GATE in between. That is all India challenge again. And after that also PhD admission also has this net some net exam or something. Some scores are there, some exams are there, the all India exams. So one can do that and take admission, but one can take a direct route also. A direct route saves time that way. So even IIT has that common sense that somebody has cracked one exam all India level. That means we don't have to test his potentiality every year. I mean, we don't have to again and again test them. Therefore, IIT makes it very easy for them. Till third year, a person can decide if he wants to do MTech. Till the end of third year, he can decide. Is it not? So not that okay, you give again you give. So even IIT has that common sense. If one time one has cracked it, that means he can crack it anytime. That means he has the potentiality, the caliber is there, not like that. So why to waste time, again and again testing it? So they just want to see that the person is in shape, and then they offer it. Is it not? So they say, okay, no, you can have 8 point CG, and then you can be offered a top up of MTech dual degree. And there also there is a clause that okay, if you have 8 point CG, then you can get a PhD admission also, like that. Why? Because all this is there because somebody, because the person has cracked JEE, like that. Is it not? What to say of IIT? Even Western universities, many of them take people candidates on CGPA basis. Like Melbourne University, if you have 8.8, you can get a PhD admission. If not, all the best. Quite simple. Quite simple. A very simple, straight criteria, 8.8. The professor is fine with your resume and you have an 8.8, fine, you get the scholarship. Done. No competitive examination. You know. So many universities do that. Yes, some universities still will grill you up. You give GRE, you get a score on that, and then you give advanced GRE, the subject GRE, and then you get marks on that. That's all fine. That some universities do that, but many of them don't do that as well, because they say, okay, this fellow is already, is in good shape. Is it not? So Purva Bihasena actually. So even you see, the materialistic universities are also having that kind of common sense. That why do you want to, you know, unnecessarily test somebody who is already testified, like that? What the point? So it's like that. But yes, explicitly, if one wants, one can give. Is it not? So the previous process is like that. Explicitly, one wants. So few lifetimes he'll be in this kanda, that stair, that stair, that stair. The process will be Bahunam Janmanam and stored. But then one package, if one takes to bhakti, then the bhakti will advance only if other principles are also followed properly. One has to understand karma yoga and bhakti yoga are very close to each other. Without action, there is no bhakti. If one doesn't have knowledge, then there is no condensation or stability of bhakti. Is it not? Like that. If there is no meditation, if there is no churning, then one's understanding remains superficial. So none of these principles are futile. That's the point. And for a devotee also, occasionally, it may not be all the time, but occasionally he has to figure out when he's in conditioning what he should do. If material desires are haunting, what he should do. So that's karma kanda, karma yoga, everything is there. So at any given point of time, something or the other, one may interface. So therefore, one has to understand that yes, when one accepts bhakti, because Krishna becomes involved from day one, only because of that, the speed is faster. Whereas in other processes, Krishna is involved years and decades later. फिर कभी तो आएंगे, no? And because the Lord is involved so later, therefore the process is very arduous. But because the Lord is involved so late, is it not? So Krishna consciousness, first the Lord is involved, then everything else starts. Therefore, the process of bhakti goes very fast. The pathway is the same. There's no difference in the pathway. It's not that, okay, this is a different path, that's a different path. The speed is different. Because bhakti, Krishna is involved, speed is very fast. High speed internet connectivity is there in bhakti. Patrata means qualification. Qualification builds with practice, not just yoga ladder. Practice. So one can practice chanting. That will also build the qualification. That. But to intensify, one has to be accepting the other principles which